with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
I can't believe this. My butt is numb, my foot is tired from all the stopping and starting, and the 4 cups of coffee I had before I left are beginning to work their magic on my bladder. 20 minutes on the road, some idiot with at least 6 cell phones taped to her head threw a couple of pruned-up pigeons at me. I didn't mean to cut her off, but she was in the middle of a 3-way teleconference and going 20 under in the fast lane. I retaliated with a smog screen. I really need to get this car looked at. She had no choice but to let me pass. Oh, now you've done it. I'm officially sick of this traffic. Some moron in a gigantic pickup truck, insecure much, gave me the angriest look in the world and just blew past me. Yeah, well, I got a little treat for you right here, buddy. A can full of cop, and he's just itching to meet his quota. Nobody blows past me, not when I'm running late for work. So what? So what if I can't get a good 8 hours of sleep? Nobody's going to make fun of me today. Today's the day people start respecting me and stop calling me zombie.
Sound familiar to you? Didn't sound familiar to me either, but this is a new game on Kickstarter called Crazy Commute, a bumper-to-bumper card game for 3 to 5 players. And tonight we're lucky enough to have the creators from Sheep Tree Studios. We have Rena and Daniel. Is that correct? You guys are the masterminds and creators of this game?
That's correct, yes.
That's awesome. So let's just go rewind a little bit. How did you guys get into board gaming, or are you just into card games?
Well, I got into board gaming when I was in college. We had a little board game meetup with me and some of my college buddies, and we'd meet every week. I kind of fell in love with it, all the community and the socialization especially.
Yeah, board games have always been a pretty big part of my life, especially growing up in Germany around the late 80s and the early 90s. Everybody seemed to somehow believe that getting your kid to start playing board games really early in their life was really healthy for their mental development. So every trendy mom was buying their kid board games, and it was a pretty big deal there. And then after that, working with some other software developers, I really got into playing D&D and the like.
Right now, at this current time, do you guys each have a favorite game? Besides Crazy Commute, of course, they might run me out into the street if I let you pick your own game.
Right now we've been playing a lot of Ticket to Ride and Castle Panic.
Yeah, we've been attending a lot of different, board game, meetups and groups and the like. So there's something always new every day. Andromeda Fight League's a lot of fun. Yeah, Ticket to Ride's a lot of fun to play too. So it's hard to say which one's my favorite. I mean, it's sort of reintroducing myself to all these really interesting new titles. It's tough to pick a favorite.
Cool, for sure. I think we played Castle Panic. I think we might have that on the shelf. People talk a lot about Ticket to Ride, but Castle Panic, that's like the one where you're trying to, I forget where, it's been a while since we played that, but you're trying to make sure that the castle doesn't fall down, or I forget exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's like one of those wave games where like Plant vs. Zombies. It's kind of like one of those games turned into a board game. It's really cool.
Cool, and so the word on the street is you guys have a new game on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about it?
Well, so this is basically a game inspired by long and insane drives to and from work here in Southern California. And just, sitting in my car, stuck behind somebody else, I sort of think to myself, the traffic here reminds me a little bit of things like Mad Max, or even, some of those crazy racing games that I used to play when I was a kid. Makes me want to have Go-Go Gadget-style toys to shoot at other cars.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So that's how you got the inspiration. What kind of mechanics are used in this game?
We're using a rock, paper, scissors style dueling mechanic. So the idea is each player can pick a character to represent them, kind of like a pawn in a game. And you try to get in front of the other players. So you're trying to pass everybody, and your opponents can either steal a card and let you pass, or they can start a duel, in which case you'll have to have the right cards in order to duel it out. It's a very fast-paced and easy-to-learn game.
So 100 different characters on the Kickstarter. I see. Is there about 5 characters you can be? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
So you have those, and then you have there's item cards as well.
Yes.
So do you guys each have a favorite item card? I see a couple listed on the Kickstarter.
I'm kind of partial to the pigeons, just because I find it funny the idea that you would have these fat pigeons that you could throw out people's windshields in traffic. As neat as that might sound, but rest assured, no pigeons have been hurt.
Yeah, no pigeons have been hurt in the creating of this. Cool beans. And then, do you have a certain car that you're using, or it's just mainly the person you're being?
You're just the driver.
Yeah. We were tempted to have some sort of dynamic regarding, some sort of edge or something for different cars or characters. But at the end of the day, we felt it just added too much complexity. Because the goal here is to be, a really fun game people can just pick up and play in almost any situation with almost anybody, be it your kids or whatever.
Cool beans. So during play testing, was there ever any part of the game that you just had to scrap because it just wouldn't work?
Oh, there was so many parts of the game we had to scrap.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. It's the amount of fat that we had to cut out of this thing was surprising. The problem with both my wife and I is that we're very creative idea people. So man, when the creative juices start flowing, it gets a little crazy.
A little out of control.
Yeah, it's a little out of control. At the end of the day, we ended up with more game than something this casual really needed. So I would almost say the difficult part of this was trying to really focus on what the overall goal of this game was.
Cool. And so what's the focus? Trying to get in front of each other? Or?
Yeah. So ultimately, it's kind of a competitive game themed around, driving. A little bit like, some of the cartoons and video games, racing games of the past, where, you're really competitive, you want to get into first place, and you have a bunch of little toys to help you do that. And there's a little bit of strategy behind it. Every one weapon can be countered with some other tool. So it can get a little intense. But the idea here is that it needed to be easy to pick up. We didn't want anybody to feel like they had to be expert at this game. And the overall goal of this game and the games that we make and the games that we try to produce is something easy to bring people together and get them all to play with one another without feeling like they needed to be excluded in any way.
In a sense, it kind of reminds me of a game I played when I was a kid. It's called Mileborns. Have you either played that before?
No, I have not.
No, I haven't either, but we get that a lot.
Yeah, it's I don't remember exactly how you play. I've just pulled it up right now, but it's the premise of Mileborns is that the players are in a road race, and you're trying to go a certain amount of miles or kilometers, and you put down speed limit signs, and you can throw flat tires on each other or out of gas and different things like that.
Yeah, at one point we were thinking about adding some sort of destination or some way of tracking how far you may have driven. But again, we thought that would add too much complexity to the rules. But yeah, that sounds interesting. I'd like to check that game out.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I've been around for a long time. I know I played it back when I was a kid, but I do see something where I know you didn't say you have miles or destinations, but you have event cards. What are those all about?
Well, event cards just kind of add to the randomness of the game. So whenever you draw a random event, you immediately play it and discard the event that was played before. And all it does is you can't start a duel with this card, or you can choose your own targets now instead of just the person right in front of you.
Okay, cool. And it was Rainy, is that how you say it?
It's Rena, but you can call me Rainy if you want.
Okay, sorry about that, Rena. I don't remember, did you say you have a favorite item card? I know Daniel said he liked the pigeons.
Oh, I like the canned cop, definitely. There's been so many times where somebody cuts me off or does something stupid in front of me. I just wish I can just summon a cop.
There you go. There you go. Cool. Yeah, that'd be nice. Cause then they drive slower or watch it more. Yeah, that makes sense. So how big? I know we live in kind of a big town, and traffic it can go from where it takes me like 30 to 45 minutes to get to work, all the way up to like an hour and a half, depending on when I leave. So is it pretty rough for you guys that way then as well?
Oof, yeah, yes, yeah, especially where I work. We live in the suburbs of Riverside, and my job is downtown San Diego. So that's everybody wants to go there. So especially during holidays or summer vacation time, not only are you dealing with other commuters, but you're dodging campers and trailers and dudes with cool jeeps go on with surfboards wanting to go to the beach. So yeah, it can get pretty crazy.
Oh boy, sounds fun, but then not. I guess. Well, at least the game sounds fun. Something come out of it, I guess.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go. So per se, somebody's falling asleep, or they're going through rush hour trying to pay attention, and they got somebody that just cut them off, so they weren't able to listen as well as they should have been, and they're just barely coming back into it as they've got things under control now, and so they're listening now so that they can pay more attention. Why should they take a chance on Crazy Commute, a bumper to bumper card game for 3 to 5 players on Kickstarter, especially with all the great games they have on Kickstarter currently?
Well, one of the things we observed about a lot of other board games out there is, people try to sort of aim for these big epic adventures, which are really fun. They're all right, but I feel a lot of games don't really seem to focus on making their core mechanics something that anybody can jump into right away. And we have some really classic card games out there too, but it just feels like there isn't anything out there that just says come and play. Everybody's welcome. It doesn't matter how much time you have, and it doesn't really matter how long you want it to go. This is a game you can pop open and play almost anywhere. And it's something new, it's something fresh. It's based on an idea that I feel a lot of people, especially younger people who are moving more and more into suburbs and having to commute into cities for their jobs, can relate to. So it takes a sort of a positive spin on the worst part of someone's day, and it's a welcoming experience. Something that again anybody can play anywhere.
Cool, cool beans. And I just barely noticed this that each of the characters, it looks like they're like vampire, minotaur, cyborgs, zombies, werewolves. How did that come into play?
We actually started categorizing people during some long drives. There's always like the guy that's obviously road raging, and we started calling him the Minotaur, and the person who's slow, kind of swerving and doing her makeup, that's the vampire. We just kind of started naming things and making kind of gamifying commuting and long drives in general.
Yeah, so where we live, you kind of have to drive at least half an hour in any direction to go do something. So as we were driving around, we just started to see patterns in all the other commuters around us, and sort of wondered, if they were fantasy creatures, what kind of creature would they be? Like if you were to make a fantasy game out of these people, how would you classify them? And then that's kind of how this idea started getting made. We were like, man, that angry guy in that pickup truck, what if he's like some sort of giant or some sort of minotaur? That lady who's doing up her makeup, she looks like she's getting ready for a crazy night out or something, but she's all cooped up in this dark car. It's almost like she's a vampire. Or the person that's just staring at this glowing brick in their hand instead of the road. It's almost as if they're part machine. So that's kind of where we got the ball rolling on the ideas of the characters of the game.
Cool. I really like that aspect of it. That sounds really cool, and it looks like the box is pretty cool as well. So so it looks like it's $14 and free shipping in the USA. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Cool, cool beans. And I know you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but if somebody backs this game, when should they anticipate getting their cards in hand?
Well, we're already talking with our manufacturer. It'll take about a month to produce, and since it's coming from China, about a month to get here. So about 2 months, I would say.
Okay, cool. And it looks like you put February just to be safe. So that's good. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. Cool beans. Now I know you. Let's see here. I know you listened to a little bit of the podcast before, so that you probably know the next section of our podcast is Adventures in Application Acquisition, in which we dive into a application that you might be using, whether it be cell phone, tablet, computer, or video game or whatnot. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be related to board games or driving, or it could be either or. Do each of you have a different application that we can talk about for a moment?
Sure. Like, what kind of application are we talking about here? Just something that we use. What was that?
Your favorite app?
That's hard to say. I'm a software engineer by trade, so a lot of the software that I use is probably pretty boring. As far as it goes on my cell phone, of course, with my commute, I'm always checking out the traffic and SIG alert and all that goodness. A lot of the software I use is online these days too. So other than the stuff I use for work, I would say the thing I've been having the most fun with recently is our tools for creating video games. So that's something I'm hoping to kind of get into in my spare time as well. So things like Unreal Engine and Unity are things that I find pretty fun to use. I highly encourage people to look at them just for the sheer novelty of having them installed and playing with them. It's going to be pretty educational.
Cool. So what was the name of one of them?
Well, the one that I'm really quite fond of currently is called the Unreal Engine. It's free for everybody to use. It will cost if you actually manage to produce something with it, which
and
sell, which is a leap on its own. But man, it's incredible the amount of stuff they give you for free. 10 years ago, I was thinking of just creating a game engine all on my own, just writing the whole thing from the ground up in C or C++. And these days, there's just no point to it. There are so many creative tools out there for people to use. It's insane. So if you want to get into doing video games or gaming, any kind of gaming in general, it's really quite the time to do it.
Cool. And so with that, if you own the rights to that application, what would be one thing you would do to improve it, Daniel?
The thing weighs almost, what is it, 10 gigabytes or so?
No, 17.
17 gigabytes. Well, that's crazy. I do understand that, with creative, any kind of creative software, file sizes tend to get pretty big. But, I'm a firm believer in keeping things simple. And, with our computers as powerful as they are today, I kind of have a feeling that there's some optimization in order. So I would definitely spend some time making that thing faster. And the faster it works, the more accessible it is to people who don't have, a huge machine capable of churning out big production style graphics.
Well, there you go. So yeah, if the creators are listening to that even now or in the future, as we hope to make these green podcasts, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. They'd make it a little bit faster or whatnot. And what about yourself, Rena? Do you have a favorite application you use a lot of?
Well, I'm a designer by trade. I do graphic design and industrial design, mostly graphic at this point. So I use a lot of Illustrator and Photoshop, the Adobe software.
So in doing that, did you create the graphics for your card game then?
Yes.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, that's a great job. I think you did. I really like the art on that, and especially the box. It looks really cool.
Oh, well, thank you.
Cool beans. And yeah, we wanted to, I didn't point it out before, but I believe this is the first time besides my daughters that we've had a female besides my daughters on the show. So thanks for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief.
Well, now I feel special.
Well, there you go. They're first for everything, and it looks like you guys have a really great game there on the Kickstarters. So mine is coming there to enjoy the busy traffic with you guys there in the San Diego area and whatnot. How would people go about to stalk you in person? How would people go about finding you or about your great game? And it's Sheep Tree Studios. It looks like that's the name of the gaming company. How would they go about finding you guys?
Well, we're online. We have a website, sheeptree.com, pretty easy to remember. We also have a Facebook and a Twitter.
Cool. And is it Sheep Tree straight across?
I think it's Sheep Tree Studio for Facebook and Twitter. Yeah.
And the website is just sheeptree.com. Just, no dashes, nothing special, just sheeptree.com.
Cool. And we'll make sure we leave this all in the show notes, and especially the that we'll have the Kickstarter in there, so the people don't have to um, spend all that time and make it worse for you during your commute. Because if they're going ahead and especially the cyborg typing that into their phone, this way they can just click it and back it.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, don't be a minotaur.
There you go. That's true. Yeah, don't be a minotaur or any of them for that matter. So the zombie is that which one would you guys classify yourself, or you don't fit into as one of the characters?
Oh man, I would say that probably fit into different categories depending on the time of day. But early in the mornings, I'm definitely a zombie. Coming home from work, I'm probably more the minotaur.
Well, there you go. Cool. Cool beans. Well, there you go. Yeah, we wanted to thank you once again for coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to your busy schedule to do this during your Kickstarter and whatnot. And people have till when to back this game?
They have until November 2nd.
Cool beans. Yeah, so like I said, go ahead and pull over so you don't end up being a cyborg, and go ahead and click the link on the show notes so you can back this great game, and then you can have your crazy commute in your tabletop as opposed to having to go and fight traffic and end up risking getting in an accident and whatnot.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, it's been an enormous pleasure.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on the show with us. We really appreciate it, and you all have a great night.
You too. It was awesome meeting you.
Thank you. Good meeting you all too.
It's time for Kickstarter Corner. To begin now.
You heard her right, ladies and gents. It's time for Kickstarter Corner to begin. So, let's have at it. Here's a couple of great games that are currently on Kickstarter. Keep in mind these are going up against Batman, so let's show a little love to the tiny guy or these people that going up against Batman, especially if you've already donated to Batman Kickstarter, or if you haven't and don't have enough money to do that but want to get a cool game. We've got some great ones on the docket, so let's go ahead and tell you what we've got on this week's Kickstarter Corner. There's a lot of great games out there. First off, don't forget about Animal Elements, the wild miming game. A gorilla with brain freeze, a hyena with a hangover. Act out ridiculous combinations in this hilarious family-friendly party game. They've got about 12 days to go. They end on the 14th of March. They're getting really close to their goal. Show them a little bit of love and let's get them over the finish line. Then we've got Colossal Games Kami-sama, a game of asymmetrical powers, area control, and beauty for 2 to 4 players. Check this one out on the Kickstarters. They are way over their goal. They have 886 backers, and they go through Sunday, March 11th. So get on the bandwagon, especially if you like their games. They did Western Legends. That reminds me, I've got to listen to this episode tomorrow, and hopefully it will jog my memory. So I will go ahead and finish my Western Legends Pledge Manager. Hopefully I don't get dinged, you know what I'm saying? And then we've got Creatures of Vathis, Volume 1, D&D 5th Edition, and Pathfinder. Creatures of Vathis Volume 1 is a 150-page bestiaria compatible with both D&D 5th Edition and the Pathfinder role-playing game. They are like they probably got a little bit less than half of their goal. Let's see here. Too late for math. But they're not quite to their goal. They got about 41 hours to go. So they end on the 3rd of March, Saturday. So go ahead and give them a little bit of love and see if we can get them across the finish line. This is by Zodiac Empires. And remember, we'll leave all the links in the show notes. Click our links, show us a little love, and show these great guys a little bit of love as well as any of the other Kickstarters. Even if you throw a buck any of their ways, that would go a long ways, all of our fans. So yeah, try to see what you can do. I know sometimes the wallet's a little bit tight. I know the feeling. Then we've got Battledigm, the fast-paced 2-player deck building game. They've got 36 hours to go. They end the 3rd of March at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We welcome heck or high water. we will go ahead and get you a little bit of a different kind of interview because we were unable to hook up with them. But they did answer some questions digitally for you. So I will go ahead and throw those up on the podcast in the next day or so. So you can find out a little bit more about this great game. It is a fun one, according to this. So yeah, check it out on the Kickstarters. Next, we've got Lexicons of Dueling Japanese Katana. A lot of these are going down to the wire, aren't they? Well, this one is a simple and complete card game that simulates martial combat in the most ingenious manner. This one is awesome. We didn't play the Katana one, but me and Princess Leaf, we were able to play with the Scottish and the English and the French versions of, So it was a really fun game. It's got like a double blind thing, and I also interviewed the creator of this, so definitely check it out on the Kickstarters. They've got about, let's see here what they got. Less than $2,000 to go to their goal, and they'll probably have like 24 hours, a little bit more when you hear this, so yeah, depending on when you listen. So check it out on the Kickstarters. It's a really fun game. And then we've got from Joe Magic Games, Dungeon Alleys, complete with 5 full sets of dungeon dice. A worker placement game where dungeon dice are the workers. They cleared their goal on day 1 with the very first backer. You heard me right. And they've still got 28 days to go, going through the 30th of March. We will go ahead and have a little bit of a weird interview as well with them, as we weren't able to get connected with them because their internet was a little lousy, I guess. Not to be rude, but the internet was a little slow. So we'll be posting that probably in a little bit. So yeah, watch out for that one. Then we've got Swords and Souls from Fridge Crisis Games. Earn your escape from the underworld by fighting your former friends in this fast-paced combat card game. Get ready to get aggressive. And they are about a fourth of the way to their goal. So yeah, give them a little help. They go through the 22nd of March. So if you've backed Batman, you got a little bit more money laying around. Go ahead and give this one a backing. And yeah, according to this, they hope to go... Well, yeah, there's a pledge level where, yeah, you'll get updates. Yeah, you'll get updates starting in March. So yeah, you back this one and you'll get updates right away at $1. That's interesting. Never saw that. But yeah, check it out. They will get you. You can get your game in December if you back this one according to what they got here. And then you do that. Then you have something to play before you get your Batman game. And then, now this one is awesome. From Lucky Duck Games, Chronicles of Crime. Cooperative game of crime investigation, mixing board game and virtual reality. This one is awesome, I'll tell you what. Right now, their goal was $15,000, and they're going for 200. Well, no, their goal was that. They've got 247,781 at the time of this recording. Let's see when the next Kickstarter. What is it? You know what it's called. Yes, the next stretch goal might be. What do you think? Scrolling down their page. Here we go, stretch goals. The stretch goal number 1, 2 new characters at 25,000. And then a new location at 35,000. So have they got there yet? Oh, they're way blown out of the water. Way blown out of the water, aren't we? Yep, a little bit of... Yeah, they're clear down the line. So let's see here. Right now we're going for 2 new characters. They're crime people, and that's at 240,000. They might have gotten that. There's also a new location at 255,000. And then the Devil's Kitchen, that comes at 270,000. Let's see what we can do to help this great game take off. It looks awesome, I'll tell you what. Then we've got Palm Island. It's a portable card game. Take your island with you. Play anywhere with this portable deck. Transformer game. Interesting. This is a fun one. They've got about 12 days to go. They're way over their goal. They were going for 4,000. They're at almost 27,000. And they go through the 14th of March. So check this one out. You might be able to play this in line or when you're waiting for something. Heck, play it at the restaurant, whatever you want to do. Play it while you're waiting for your Batman game, because this one you will also get in June of this year. Yeah, so definitely you can play this one for quite some time, almost a year before you get Batman. So there you go. Then, last but not least, Swordcrafters. Craft 2D game pieces into a 3D sword. A tile selection and placement board game where each player builds a 3D tableau in the shape of a sword. I first heard about this game, well, I saw it across the Facebooks and whatnot, but then I heard Adam, the creator of it, talking with one of my favorite podcasts. That's right, We're Not Wizards. And yeah, they had quite a great chat about it. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and have Adam on the show too. So stay tuned, you fellow geeks. And that is about it. That wraps up our Kickstarter Corner. And also, I wanted to make it a little bit of an addendum. Hopefully you're still with me. If you listened to the first part of this episode, you probably got the vibe that Crazy Commute already happened. Well, it did. But they relaunched. And they are going... Yeah, let me tell you about it. Yeah, Crazy Commute relaunched. They relaunched not too long ago. And if I can find my deck, we will definitely be going ahead and giving you a review here at Getting Geeky with Game Relief. They are 8% funded. They got 28 days to go. So yeah, they just barely launched and they go through the 30th of March. So check that one out. And like I said, we will go ahead and hopefully find the game and be able to review it. Free shipping to the USA, so if you're in for that, and I want to say Joshua Burrell of Logan Chops Reviews reviewed it, as well as the Unfiltered Gamer. So check that out on the Kickstarters, and you know what to do next. We want you to get on with your life. We want to get on with our lives. Get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into the geek fold. And you know what? The flip side might come a little bit quicker than you suspected. So, if you've got nothing to do this weekend, stay glued to your podcast app, and maybe you can get even more geeky this weekend with Game Relief. Well, until then, we will catch you all on the, you guessed it, flip side. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.